Okay, so let's talk about a drug that's, well, it's a paradox. It's a total hero in the world of medicine, but sometimes, in some rare cases, it can be a real villain.
I mean, you've probably heard of propofol. It's an absolute cornerstone of what we do in modern medicine. But yeah, it has this hidden, really dark side that can be just devastating. So picture this. You're in an ICU, the intensive care unit. You have a patient who is critically ill. I mean, fighting for their life. Propofol is what lets us keep them peacefully sedated while a ventilator breathes for them. It gives their body that crucial time it needs to heal. It is, without a doubt, a lifesaver.
But, and this is a big but, here's where the paradox kicks in. In some rare cases, the very same drug that's supposed to be helping, it starts this catastrophic chain reaction. It begins to shut the body down system by system. And yeah, this terrifying thing has a name. It's called Propofol Infusion Syndrome. We call it PRIS for short, and what it means is widespread organ failure. It's like the ultimate betrayal by a medicine you trust. So you have to be asking, right? How on earth can a sedative, a drug meant to calm things down, cause the body's most vital systems to completely fail? How does that even happen? All right, to get it, we have to zoom way, way in. The problem actually starts at the cellular level, inside these tiny little power plants called mitochondria. You can think of them as the engines for every single cell. And what happens is, in these specific situations, propofol basically acts like a poison to them. It sabotages the body's entire energy supply, right at the source. And what's really fascinating is just how specific this attack is. Propofol blocks the mitochondria from using fat for fuel. So think about it like this. It's like trying to run your car, but someone's crimped the fuel line. The engine sputters, it struggles, and then it just dies. That's pretty much exactly what's happening inside the cells. Okay, so if there's one thing to remember, it's this little memory trick. Propofol steals your power. And that power we're talking about is a molecule called ATP. That's the literal energy currency for our cells. When you don't have ATP, the organs that are the most energy hungry, we're talking the heart, the muscles, they're the first to go. They just run out of gas. So this is happening at a tiny microscopic level. How does that turn into a full-blown, body-wide crisis? Well, that brings us to the fallout, this absolute cascade of failure. When this starts happening, doctors are on the lookout for 5 classic alarm bells. Okay, 1, the blood gets super acidic. 2, the muscles start to break down, literally dissolving and releasing toxins. 3, the kidneys just give up. 4, the heart rate drops like a stone and doesn't respond to anything we do. And 5, potassium in the blood goes through the roof. Every single one of those is a sign that things are getting really, really bad.
Now, you might be thinking, does this happen to everyone? No, definitely not. The risk really skyrockets when you're talking about high doses of propofol for more than, say, 48 hours. And the people who are most vulnerable are already the sickest of the sick, patients with things like sepsis or those on steroids. It's a real perfect storm of risk factors.
And that perfect storm, well, it creates a huge problem for doctors, a major diagnostic challenge.
Yeah, because the symptoms of PRIS can look a whole lot like the very illness you're trying to treat in the first place. I mean, take sepsis, a massive infection. So many of the signs overlap. But there's this one huge clue, the heart rate. With sepsis, the heart is usually racing, right? Tachycardia. But with PRIS, it slows way, way down, bradycardia. Spotting that one single difference, it can be, and I mean this literally, a matter of life and death.
So you can imagine, the moment a doctor even suspects PRIS, everything changes. The whole game plan shifts. It's no longer about routine care, it's a desperate race against the clock. And they're trained to look for these little clues, these subtle signs that pop up before the patient completely falls off a cliff. You know, things like the blood's lactate level creeping up, those muscle enzymes rising, the urine starting to look dark. And there it is again, that stubbornly slow heart rate that you just can't get to speed up. These aren't just lab values, they're the whispers right before the storm hits. And really, it all boils down to this. This is the absolute bottom line for anyone at the bedside. If you've got a patient on a propofol drip, and all of a sudden they develop an unexplained metabolic acidosis, their blood just turns acidic, you have to think PRIS. It has to be number 1 on your list. It is the single biggest red flag. So what do? Here's the scary part.
There's no antidote. There's no magic reversal drug. There is only one thing to do, one move that matters, and it has to be done now. You stop the propofol immediately, full stop. Every single second that drug keeps running, the damage gets deeper and deeper.
And here's why this is just so terrifying. Even if you do everything right, you catch it early, you stop the propofol, the mortality rate is still somewhere between 30 and 50%. Let that sink in. That's a coin flip or close to it. It just goes to show you how incredibly severe this thing really is.
And that leaves us with this really tough, profound question. It's right at the heart of critical care. You have this drug, propofol, that saves an incredible number of lives every single day all over the world. But you also know that for a tiny fraction of patients, it can cause this devastating, irreparable harm. So how do you weigh those two things? How do you balance that equation? It's the paradox that every doctor faces when they reach for that little white bag of medicine.